Hello, my name is Dr. Eric Marsh, and I'm a pediatric neurologist at the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I'm a member of the CURE Epilepsy Scientific Advisory Council, and I spend much of my time treating children with epilepsy and doing research about pediatric epilepsy and hard-to-treat seizure disorders. And I'd like to welcome you to my virtual office. This is where I have a lot of conversations about epilepsy with my patients and their families, and I want to share some of the information that I share with them with you. To start, I'm going to give a definition of epilepsy, who gets it, and why. So epilepsy is generally characterized by at least 2 unprovoked seizures occurring more than 24 hours apart. So who develops epilepsy? Well, it can happen to anyone at any age. It can be a baby or it can be in the elderly. If you have 2 or more unprovoked seizures, you have epilepsy. One of the fascinating parts about epilepsy is that it can present in so many different ways because the brain can do so many different things. So what causes a seizure? Well, for any given seizure, we actually don't know why it happens. And that's one of the reasons why we need to do a lot of research about epilepsy. We still need to learn a lot about how seizures start, how they stop, and why any given seizure occurs. Because if we understand that, we could potentially treat or even cure epilepsy. So what do I do as a neurologist? How do I treat people with epilepsy? The primary therapies we use are drugs or pharmacological therapies, but there are also surgical and dietary treatments that can be used as well. Now, the goal of our treatment is to reduce or stop seizures without producing any side effects. But unfortunately, there are those people where medications don't work very well. We call this refractory epilepsy, and up to 30 to 35% of patients who have epilepsy cannot gain seizure control with any of the existing medications. Well, look, I have some people coming into my office. Let me see if they have any questions that can help us all learn a little bit about epilepsy.
Hi, Dr. Mike. My name is Nils, and I want to wish if my seizures go away.
Hi, Dominic. Thank you for that question. That's a tough one. So in many kids with epilepsy, their seizures do go away, but a lot don't. And that's one of the reasons why we still need to do research and need to fund things through CURE Epilepsy so we can understand why some people's seizures go away and some people's seizures don't. And for those who don't, how we can come up with better cures or treatments for them.
My name is Mila. I'm from Maryland, and my question about epilepsy is when I can stop my low glycemic diet.
Hi, Mila. That's an excellent question. And for when you can stop your low glycemic diet, I think you'll have to talk to your neurologist. But more generally, a lot of people are on dietary therapies, the most common one being the ketogenic diet. We've long known that dietary therapies can reduce or even stop seizures, but we don't know why. And therefore, it's one of the reasons why we still need to do more research to understand how dietary therapies work and even to potentially figure out ways to maximize them so that they work for everybody.
Hi, my name is Silas Sadens, and I'm from Glenview, Illinois. My question to Dr. Marsh is, why is my birthmark red, and is it related to my epilepsy?
Hello, Silas. That's an interesting question. There are a number of different types of epilepsies that can be associated with birthmarks. If your birthmark's red, that means there's likely blood vessels or blood flowing underneath the skin that we see through the skin, and that's why your birthmark's red. Those blood vessels are often abnormal within the brain, and that's how it's related to your epilepsy. So the birthmark is related to your epilepsy. Thank you all for coming to my office. I hope I answered your questions, and if you still have questions, be sure to ask your doctor the next time you're in their office, whether it's in person or virtual.
Hello, my name is Aaron Hemmler from Dayton, Ohio.
I'm Martin Highland from Buenos Aires, Argentina.
My name is Kirsten. I'm from Ontario, Canada.
My name is Sam Zaharko and I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
My name is Faith and I'm from Oklahoma.
We're the Cotton family from Chicago, Illinois.
We unite to cure epilepsy in memory of our daughter, Vivian.
I unite to cure epilepsy for my baby sister, Adelaide.
We unite to cure epilepsy for Daniel.
For my cousin, Jake.
For our daughter, Vera.
For my daughter, Catherine.
For my cousin, Hannah.
For veterans with post-traumatic epilepsy.
I unite to cure epilepsy because there's so much research waiting to be done.
To me, a cure for epilepsy means a sense of freedom.
It means certainty in daily life.
Seeing less kids suffer.
Kids not having to go through what I had to go through when I was younger.
To have my life back to normal.
CURE Epilepsy represents hope for seizure freedom for those living with epilepsy.
CURE Epilepsy means community and education.
CURE gives me hope because of the research that they do.
CURE means hope.
I want people to know that epilepsy affects the whole family.
That epilepsy can dominate your life if you don't have hope.
That epilepsy is diverse with different seizures, triggers, and how it affects daily life, but we are all fighting for the same thing, and that's seizure freedom.
We would like to thank all the epilepsy researchers for all that they do.
Thank you, epilepsy researchers,
who are fighting every day in hopes of finding a cure.
Thank you for all you do to unite us in one common goal to stop this devastating disease.
Thank you, epilepsy researchers.
We unite to cure epilepsy.
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 Tenacity, discovery, hope.
Tenacity,
discovery, hope.
We've got this.
Good evening, and welcome to the 2021 Unite to Cure Epilepsy community event. I'm Mike Barnicle. That was wonderful seeing all of those amazing faces in that video. And we're glad that you're here, no matter who you are or wherever you are. We're just happy that you're participating. This is our second virtual experience, and while we hope to be in person, we're going to enjoy this evening together from wherever we are. To your right, my left, you see a chat feature. So please mix and mingle and say hello, because there are people from all over the country, maybe all over the world, participating in this right now. Parties are taking place throughout the country, in fact. So check out the map. Why don't you put the map up on the screen so people can see, map of the United States of America. There we are. That's our country, America the Great, still. We know parties are happening in 39 states, and I bet there are a few more out there as well. This is where I live. We've got champagne, we've got hors d'oeuvres, but I think we might be the only party with a full control room in the kitchen. My daughter Julia is right there over there, making sure I do a good job tonight. Thank you very much for being here, Julie. I truly appreciate it. And she even cleaned up her room in order to come down and participate in this. I'm only kidding, Julie, don't get mad at me. We've got an incredible evening lined up to inform, inspire, and entertain you. And of course, we're here to raise money for a cure for epilepsy. Our goal is to raise $1.8 million, and I hope we can do it. It's more important than ever to stay focused, to fund research, and fight for an end to epilepsy. To kick off the evening, we're going to start with some of that entertainment we just promised. Miguel Cervantes, known to many as Broadway's Hamilton, you may have heard of that show. It went on for a while, and it's still going on. It's back. Anyway, he has rallied George Washington, Angelica Schuyler, Harry Potter, and a whole host of others to perform an exclusive performance of a popular Jason Mraz song, Broadway is Back.
May you have auspiciousness and causes of success. May you have the confidence to always do your best. May you take no effort in your being generous, sharing what you can, nothing more, nothing less. May you know the meaning of the word happiness. May you always lead from the beating in your chest. May you be treated like an esteemed guest. May you get to rest, may you catch your breath. And may the best of your todays be the worst of your tomorrows. Whoa. And may the road less paved be the road that you follow. Whoa. Well, here's to the hearts that you're gonna break. Here's to the lives that you're gonna change. Here's to the infinite possible ways to love you. I want you to have it. Here's to the good times we're gonna have. We don't need money, we got a free pass. Here's to the fact that I'd be sad without you. I want you to have it all. Oh, I want you to have it all. I want you to have it all. I want you to have it all.
May you be as fascinating as a slap bracelet. May you keep the chaos and the clutter off your desk.
May you have unquestionable health and less stress. Having no possessions, though immeasurable wealth.
May you get a gold star on your next test. May your educated guesses always be correct.
And may you win prizes shining like diamonds. May you really own each moment to the next. And may the best of your todays be the worst of your tomorrows. Whoa. And may the road less paved be the road that you follow. Whoa. Well, here's to the hearts that you're gonna break. Here's to the lives that you're gonna change. Here's to the infinite possible ways to love you. I want you to have it. Here's to the good times we're gonna have. You don't need money, you got a free pass. Here's to the fact that I'd be sad without you. I want you to have it. Oh, I want you to have it all. I want you to have it all. I want you to have it all. Oh, I want you to have it. Oh, you can't imagine. Oh, no matter what your path is, if you believe it, then anything can happen. Go, go, go. Raise your glasses. Go, go, go. You can have it. And I toast you, here's to the hearts that you gon' break. Here's to the lives that you gon' change. Here's to the lives, here's to the infinite possible ways to love you. I want you to have it. Here's to the good times we gon' have. You don't need money, you got free pass. Here's to the fact that I'll be sad without you. I want you to have it all. Oh, I want you to have it all. I want you to have it all. I want you to have it all. I want you to have it. Here's to the good times we're gonna have. Here's to you always making me laugh. Here's to the fact that I'll be sad without you.
I want you to have it all.
I want you to have it all.
Now that's the kind of park you want to take your kids to. A live Tony Award-winning crew sitting there singing for you. That was a lot of fun. Thanks to Miguel, his wife Kelly, and son Jackson Cervantes for sharing their talents. They're awesome talents. And it was so great to see Tamar Green, Mandy Gonzalez, James Snyder, that's George Washington, Angelica Schuyler, and Harry Potter, respectively. and some friends of CURE enjoying that day in the park. Now, as I mentioned earlier, we have a goal to raise $1.8 million so we can continue to keep funding the development of treatments, interventions, and ultimately to find a cure. Last year, during some of our most difficult days of the pandemic, the CURE Epilepsy family rallied together. At a time when funding was being redirected, you helped keep epilepsy at the forefront. Thanks to you, we smashed our fundraising goal of $1.7 million, but the fight is not over. This year, our presenting patrons have already generously donated. So special thanks to GCM Grosvenor and the Cafaro Livingston Charitable Trust. We wish a very special happy birthday as well to Katie Livingston, and she's throwing a birthday watch party right now in Illinois. Keep the noise down, Katie. The neighbors are starting to complain. Our patrons of Discovery this year, Bank of America and Bloomberg Philanthropies. For those of you watching, we're going to make this easy for you. There are multiple ways you can donate this evening and in the days that follow. We know it's difficult. We know these are hard times. We know that people have been through an enormous amount the last 18 months. We're not asking you to break the bank. We're just asking for maybe a few portraits of presidents. You know, Benjamin Franklin is a nice portrait on dollar bills, stuff like that. We want to make it as easy for you as possible. So you can text UNITE21 to 41444, or you could call 312-255-1801, or donate online at cureepilepsy.org/unite202011. Let me give that to you one more time. cureepilepsy.org/unite202011. And if you need the path of least resistance, just click the button on the top of your screen that says donate. When it comes to raising money for a cure, you can be creative too. We have a special message from Jason O'Malley, a friend of Miguel and Kelly Cervantes. He's embarked on an adventure to raise money.
Hey everyone, my name is Jason O'Malley, and I wish I could join you tonight in watching Unite to Cure Epilepsy. But instead, I'm in Delta, Georgia right now running a 100-mile ultramarathon to help raise funding for this incredible organization. I'm not doing it alone though. I've got Adelaide Cervantes riding shotgun. She is the daughter of the Cervantes family, whom you just met in the opening number. And unfortunately, Adelaide lost her battle with epilepsy just before her 4th birthday. There's over 65 million people with epilepsy worldwide, and we desperately need a cure. I'm running 100 miles in under 35 hours because funding epilepsy research is that important. So I want to know, what is something that you would do if it meant finding a cure for epilepsy? Let me know in the chat or post on social media using hashtag #UniteToCureEpilepsy. I love you all, and I look forward to seeing you at the finish line.
Good for you, Jason. That's incredible. Jason is running 100 miles in 35 hours. My wife and I once did 100 miles in 35 hours in a 1998 Toyota 4Runner. But he's on his feet. He's running. Good luck to him, and good luck to all of us, especially if you donate. If running 100 miles isn't your thing, don't worry about it. Our friend, celebrity chef Rick Bayless, has a much less physically demanding option.
Hi, I'm Chef Rick Bayless, and I want to thank everyone for joining us tonight. I'm lucky to say that I'm friends with the Cervantes family, and I've watched their courage in the face of real adversity. I stand in awe that Miguel could create magic every single night, even during the darkest times. Like them, I never want anyone else to experience those struggles. That's why I'm asking you to support this important cause and to make a contribution tonight. If you give $26 or more, you could be one of 5 lucky winners to receive a signed copy of one of my cookbooks. Why $26? It's because epilepsy impacts 1 in 26 Americans. We can help make a difference if we all work together. Make your gift now and enjoy the rest of the show.
Thanks, Rick. I should note we also take donations in multiples of 26, or just add a few zeros if you're kidding around or you really want to get serious. You're going to still qualify for the raffle. Once again, text UNITE21 to 41444 or call 312-255-1801 or online cureepilepsy.org/unite2021, or just click the donate button on your screen. I suggest you donate all of those ways and let me know which way works best for you. We'll let you know which way works best for us too. Now, as Jason and Rick shared, 65 million people suffer from epilepsy. That's 1 in 26 Americans. It's one of the most common and costly chronic conditions in the United States. There are actually 40+ recognized types of epilepsy and related syndromes. It presents differently and can affect anyone at any time. A diagnosis can bring more questions than answers. And although it's more prevalent than other neurological disorders, it is significantly less funded. As a parent, that becomes really frustrating and annoying. When our daughter Julia was diagnosed, my wife Ann and I went on a search for answers. My wife literally went all over this country, sometimes with Julia, to Chicago, to St. Louis, in search of answers. You know, there's a quote from Agatha Christie that refers to what my wife has done and what other mothers have done and what other groups of parents have done, but especially mothers. And the quote goes like this: "A mother's love for her child is like nothing else in the world. It knows no law, no pity. It dares all things and crushes down remorselessly all that stands in its path." So she must have been thinking of Susan Axelrod when she wrote that. Susan founded CURE Epilepsy with a group of mothers because of lack of funding, lack of answers, lack of treatment, and she wasn't going to stand for that. Not for her family, not for her daughter Lauren, and not for anyone. So Susan made a promise, and for the last 2+ decades, CURE Epilepsy has worked relentlessly to find a cure. Susan recently sat down with 3 other mothers to share their own experiences of raising children with epilepsy.
It's really wonderful being with you, Tina, Stacy, and Danita today, and really thank you for just being here and sharing your stories. You know, over these years I have heard so many, and I'm always struck by how we would probably not know each other were it not for epilepsy. Stacy, we met because of our kids, and you know, just tell me about Evan.
We entered the world of epilepsy kind of for several years, not realizing that we were even in it. My son Evan is a twin, and we noticed some developmental differences and a loss of skills that started around 12 months, and it was just progressively happening for several years. But he was diagnosed at 3.5 with a rare pediatric epilepsy syndrome called ESES. And we were very fortunate. We ended up getting a diagnosis, but even at that, it still took 2 years to figure out what was going on, and 9 failed medications and constant hospitalizations and deterioration of skills and abilities, and watching our child kind of slip away from us before we were really able to hone in on what it was. So luckily there was a protocol, or a series of protocols, that for some kids with ESES does work. And Evan was a lucky one. He had his last seizure when he was 6 years old, and he has been seizure-free since. He has been medication-free, gosh, probably since he was about 10 years old or so, 10 or 11. So while we have a lot of gratitude of how things have worked out for Evan, my son, but it's there.
Yeah. It never leaves, does it?
No,
It
doesn't leave. Yeah. It doesn't leave at all.
My daughter responded to a medication now 20 years ago and hasn't had a seizure since. But I'm imagining you also feel like, what, you know, if we had more research, we would have known what to do about Evan right away. We would have known what to do about my Lauren right away. and saved a lot of misery and a lot of suffering and a lot of really, really bad times. And, you know, I think that's why many of us are really, you know, committed to this and really feel the urgency of this mission. And when myself and a couple other moms founded CURE Epilepsy around my kitchen table, it wasn't about our kids, it was about the next generation of kids to come along. Danita, if you'll share Michael's story, he's such an amazing young man.
He was diagnosed with epilepsy at the age of 10, and it came out of nowhere. It was overnight for us. He went to summer camp. He came home on a Friday, went to sleep, and Saturday morning, I can hear it as clearly as I'm sitting here now. I heard my husband yell, "Danita, dial 911, Mike's having a seizure." I was asleep, and I jumped up out of bed. I run into the boys' bedroom, and they had loft beds that were metal, and the bed was shaking. And even right now, I can hear that metal clanging together. And my husband had climbed up into the bed with Michael, and I could hear him gurgling, and he wasn't responsive. He had had a complete grand mal seizure. That Saturday morning, we were in the hospital, and we saw a pediatric neurologist on Monday, and life changed. Everything was different. And we began medication and tried many different kinds of medication, and he is still experiencing seizure activity. The epilepsy is better. It is much better than it was. He has not had a grand mal seizure now in 2 years, so we are so very thankful for that. He is still having petit mal or absent seizures.
One of our scientific advisors early on said, you have epilepsy, you accept that you're going to have seizures. There's nothing that we can accept short of 0 seizures. That's the goal. And I know you're the young one in the group here today, and with the youngest
I have the youngest child, I will say. I'll put it that way. Yes, so my son's name is Benicio. He is 3 and was diagnosed when he was 2 with also a rare epilepsy syndrome called Duse syndrome. And like you, Danita, I remember the first one, the first grand mal or tonic-clonic. Same thing, my husband, I just remember I was in the shower, and I'll never forget that. I remember my name being yelled out with such panic. And he, Tina! And I ran out to the living room, and he wasn't currently seizing, but he was in that sort of post-ictal, that after seizure, kind of out of it state. And it, like you, it was, for all of us, I think it's just such an incredibly difficult diagnosis. This is just one of the most difficult things I've ever experienced, is to watch my child in distress like that, in agony, and then all of the follow-ups and the blood draws and the hospitalizations and the MRIs. My son started on a modified Atkins diet or ketogenic diet there, and we were very successful. We have been so far with that, but my son had drop seizures, tonic-clonic, myoclonic, absence, the whole thing. And so it was devastating to his development. As a sort of a newbie to this community, I don't think I realized how little epilepsy research is funded. To do this kind of research is so important, because I think the implications of epilepsy stretch so far and so wide.
A cure right away would have been life-changing for us. It's very, very challenging, because you just don't know when it's going to end. He's at the age where he wants to drive, and he should be able to. He should be able to jump in the car and go to the movies, or, do many, many things that kids his age should be able to do. And so for us, it is research and moving the understanding forward would be incredibly beneficial to families, to our families specifically, and to families who are dealing with this.
All our kids have different types of epilepsy. That makes it even more challenging.
I think that the thing that I have found most impactful in getting involved with CURE Epilepsy was the bridge that it created between myself, the patient population, and the researchers. What we all went through those few years has never left us, and if anything, it makes me more determined to fight for a cure, because every kid deserves what Evan currently has.
Together, I think we can really continue to have a huge impact on epilepsy research and putting an end to epilepsy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Dr. Kavita Patel. I'm a physician and a contributor to NBC and MSNBC, and very proud to be a part of CURE's virtual event. I have been personally affected at a young age with a family member who has had epilepsy, initially misdiagnosed, had to go through years of trying to understand what was happening to her, only finally in her late adolescence to be diagnosed with a seizure disorder, and ultimately to find herself and myself in a community of millions of people who are trying to understand epilepsy, trying to understand what that means, trying to understand how to find our own new normal. One of the most important priorities that I have, and hopefully you'll share with me, is this passion to find a cure, but to also advance research in a number of other areas, including how to foster a delivery system that can actually take comprehensive care of not only the individual with epilepsy, but their family, because it doesn't affect one person, it affects an entire community. Donations such as yours can have such a strong impact. It really does matter. Thank you so much.
Okay, we're getting closer to our goal of 1.8 million. We're at $1,360,088 and climbing fast. So you saw all the information on the screen. We're going to flash it up there one more time. It's easy. We could probably, I just figured out I'm a math genius. If you push the donate button, 500 different people push it, we're there. It'd be a great night. Now, you just heard Dr. Patel talking about research. Well, Dr. Chris Duhler is right here with us. He joined our watch party here tonight. He's a PhD, Associate Professor of Neuroscience at Tufts University, and a CURE Epilepsy grant recipient. You know, Chris, the thing that occurs to me is, why were you drawn to epilepsy research?
Well, great question. You know, epilepsy is an amazing disorder because it can sort of show you what happens when the brain is dysfunctioning. I'm personally just fascinated by the brain growing up. You know, my dad's a psychiatrist, so we would always talk about, you know, what would happen if your brain's working right versus not right.
It must have been a fun dinner and stuff like that. Why did you say that?
He tried not to diagnose me, but I think he did hypnotize me once or twice, yeah. But no, I mean, like we're saying, the brain's just fascinating in epilepsy. Seizures, you know, the way they manifest with different auras, people see things, hear things, it really is a window into how the brain works. So from someone who's kind of a science geek, it really fascinates me.
You know, you say you're a science geek and you're a research guy, but you're a very, very smart guy and very involved in epilepsy research.
Yeah.
Why do you think that word alone, epilepsy, carries so much fear within it?
Wow, tough question. Well, I mean, you know firsthand when you see someone have a seizure, it can be very scary. And people don't know how to react. They don't know what it means sometimes. So, you know, you go out into, here in Boston, you know, people know, there's a lot of smart people, a lot of doctors, they know about what seizures are. But it's shocking to me when you hear about people who live in small towns outside of academic centers. They just don't know what seizures are. Even people that have epilepsy, they're sometimes scratching their head as to what a seizure is. So when you don't know something, you don't understand it, it's scary.
When you talk about seizures, do they affect young people more than middle-aged people?
Yeah, there's 2 times of your life where you're more at risk for seizures, when you're young and when you're old. And so when you're young, your brain's developing, growing, all those important connections are forming. So when you have seizures during childhood, they can be especially impactful and damaging to your brain. That's why a lot of what CURE Epilepsy does and what my lab focuses on is understanding the young brain, the developing brain, and how we can prevent seizures from occurring while kids are growing up.
So the research into this mystery of how seizures occur, tell us about the progress you think we're making.
We are making progress. So we're understanding a lot of the genetic causes of seizures and epilepsy. That's a huge part of the problem. We're understanding a lot about how brain injury and infections can cause epilepsy, how the immune system can contribute to it. And we're always looking for new drug treatments and trying to identify new medicines that can help. And there's a lot of exciting avenues of research in that area that have been quite successful.
Our daughter Julia, who you met earlier this evening, she had seizures beginning at about the age of 2-3 years of age. That's quite some time ago.
Right.
I assume the advancements must be huge since she was first diagnosed as having seizures 25 years ago.
Yeah, there are a lot of exciting advances, and there's new drugs, new treatments, new technologies available. But one thing that has been a struggle is that there's still about 30% of people that have epilepsy, their seizures are uncontrolled. So that number hasn't changed in a long time. Even though we're making progress, there's still a significant amount of people with epilepsy that don't have control over their seizures.
When you talk about the genetic component in epilepsy, what are you talking about?
Well, your brain and your body is built by all of this genetic code that puts the building blocks together to connect things and wire you up. So during development or during exposure to different chemicals or different things, you can get changes in your DNA. And if those changes occur in certain important building blocks, if there's a mutation in a gene, then the building blocks and the processes that put your brain together can become disrupted. And if that happens, you can have seizures, all different kinds of neurological disorders.
As you know, better than I know, certainly, but better than most know.
Yeah.
The last 18, 19 months, a lot of attention has been paid, thankfully, to COVID-19.
Right.
And a lot of money has been pushed into finding vaccines. Thankfully, we have vaccines.
Right.
Have you suffered in terms of research money?
Yeah, well, pretty much every academic lab, at least in the US and I think around the world too, was forced to shut down for 6 months, just like all of us. Kids aren't in school, people aren't working. We were no different, so we had to shut down our labs. And when that happens, things slow down. It takes time to ramp your research back up. It takes time to get things back to where you were. So we did. We were slowed down, and thankfully CURE Epilepsy has supported people in that transition, trying to keep projects going, keep research that has been slowed down by COVID, get it back up to speed. And
so how important was a CURE Epilepsy grant for your research?
Oh, it was incredibly important. I've been supported by CURE a number of different times. They have supported development grants and this COVID relief fund. And the thing that's really impactful about money that comes from CURE Epilepsy is that that money comes from patients' families, people donating. So the money, it's special money for researchers. They take it really seriously when they have CURE grants, and it's the kind of thing that keeps you going and motivates you when you know that your resources are coming from families of patients with epilepsy.
How many people are working alongside you at Tufts on epilepsy?
In my lab, there's about 10 people. At Tufts in epilepsy, there's probably about 40 people working on epilepsy there, 40 different scientists, yeah.
Is that one of the larger research epilepsy labs, would you think, in the country?
There's probably about 5-6 other places that are a lot bigger, but Tufts is there. That's one of our focuses is epilepsy research. So we do have a good group of people working on that. Yeah.
Well, I want you to know, on behalf of our family, we really appreciate what you've devoted your life to doing.
Well, thank you.
And I hope other people out there will respond as well by pushing that donate button.
I hope so too, like he said.
Continue doing it. Yeah,
did it a few times.
Thanks so much for being here, Chris.
Thank you,
appreciate it. And be sure to donate. We've given you the numbers as we gather around our screens tonight from different corners of the world. It's evident that epilepsy doesn't recognize borders. It doesn't care what your zip code is or how far away a specialist may be. Kelly Cervantes, mother to Adelaide, CURE Epilepsy board member, and host of the podcast Seizing Life, traveled to Marysville, Ohio to meet Aaron, David, Camden, and a very special little girl named Hadley.
I am so excited to learn about Hadley. She's just so freaking cute and feisty. Tell me about her. Tell me about her personality.
Hadley is so resilient. She's funny, and she's silly, and she's goofy, and she's so smart, and she loves her brother and her dog. She likes to snuggle. She gives the best snuggles.
She's infectious to be around. You just want to be around this child, and that's what we love the most about her.
She's such a brave little girl. She's been through so much. Hadley was, she was born 26 weeks, 4 days, so she was a premature baby.
From the first time we met her at 1 pound, she fought for every breath she's had.
She spent 91 days in the NICU, and at 5 months old, she had her first seizure. And we were admitted to the hospital later that day, and she was diagnosed that afternoon. We didn't know anybody that had epilepsy, and the few people I did had a seizure maybe once every few years. You know, they were still working and they were still living their life. So when you get this news about your daughter has epilepsy and there's a 60% chance this med's gonna work, was awful.
And I remember telling that to the neurologist, like, you're gonna tell me that only 60%, that's the best you got for me? Come on, it's not good enough.
Yeah, I have to say, getting an infantile spasms or epilepsy diagnosis is absolutely gut-wrenching.
We started steroids and the spasm stopped. It was great. And then 4 or 5 months later, she relapsed, and that was hard. So we started another medication for infantile spasms, and again, they stopped quickly. They stopped within 3 or 4 days, which was great. And then she had her longest stretch of seizure freedom, which was about, I don't know, 5, 6 months. And at the end of the summer, she relapsed again, and that was just hard because at that point, we kind of knew, okay, we're not one of the lucky ones. We're gonna have to really fight this.
You get it?
And at that point, I think we knew, okay, she's not doing well. She's essentially, she's dying. She was losing skill. She wasn't sitting anymore. She wasn't smiling anymore. She wasn't laughing anymore. She was a zombie all day. So at the end of 2019, we reached out to the Cleveland Clinic and they did a whole workup on her. And so they said, you know, she's a candidate, however, there's a 20% chance that it'll help her. And so she had a lobectomy done on March 6th of 2020. It was a 6-hour surgery. She did great. They removed the frontal, temporal and occipital lobe on the left side of her brain, and she recovered quickly. She was doing well, and she wasn't having seizures. We were so excited. And then 6 weeks after her surgery, she had a spasm again. And I think at that point, my heart dropped because I knew, okay, well, we're not in that, 20%.
Hi, good job.
I think that there is a piece of your experience that it speaks to this desperation and how desperate our community is for these answers.
Good.
I look at both of you and, parents of children with epilepsy or disabilities, we often hear so frequently that, how strong we are and, how do we do it? And what I don't think that people necessarily understand is that if they were in our shoes, they would do it too, because you do everything that you can for your kiddo, right? Excuse me, you fight and you fight. And what do you wish that people knew?
I think I wish people understood how serious it is and how hard it is. It can be devastating to families, and it's hard, and it affects the kid, it affects the parents, it affects the siblings, it affects grandparents, it affects aunts and uncles, it affects everybody. And I just hope with just more research, we can find better options for medications that don't have such crappy and awful side effects. I hate giving Hadley medication where she's gonna sleep for 4 hours because she's so sedated, or she's going to be out of it for a few weeks because she's trying to just adjust to a new medication where who knows if it's going to work. You know, the chance of it working is what, 50%? And that's not good enough.
What is it about CURE Epilepsy that gives you hope?
Family every waking moment. Hadley's wonderful family, Aaron and David and big brother Camden, do an amazing job caring for her and keeping love and hope alive. Still, they all live in a constant state of worry and fear, and that is simply too
out of it for a few weeks because she's trying to just adjust to a new medication where who knows if it's going to work. You know, the chance of it working is what, 50%? And that's not good enough.
What is it about CURE Epilepsy that gives you hope?
Funding for research. Yeah, it's pretty simple. At this point, we've exhausted 16 meds. You know, we're not solving this problem with an inside-the-box solution. It's got to be outside the box. It's got to be something new, inventive, creative.
Good. Good job.
You asked the question earlier of, you know, what do people say, how do you do it? You don't have a choice. You just do it. And, you know, if every day is one day at a time, and you're gonna have good days, you're gonna have bad days. You celebrate the good and you get through the bad. That's epilepsy. When we started in the NICU, we put a sign up before we knew anything about her future with epilepsy. It said, though she's little, she is fierce. That, to us still, to this day, is like, how ironic that we started her life with that, not knowing anything about seizures, epilepsy, infantile spasms, any of it. And that's still like what we live by with her.
Good job. You did so good. Yeah.
Hello everyone, I'm Nils Lofgren. As you've seen in Hadley's story, epilepsy affects every member of the family every waking moment. Hadley's wonderful family, Aaron and David and big brother Camden, do an amazing job caring for her and keeping love and hope alive. Still, they all live in a constant state of worry and fear, and that is simply too much without the hope CURE offers. The extraordinary research CURE funds offers real hope through medical advances that improve children's lives. And that hope, along with a family's love, can keep the fear and worry at bay. That hope can bring families moments of peace and gratitude like no wish or prayer alone can. Now, this is a heavy, beautiful, and hopeful night. Some of you will leave here without that fear and worry, yet our communities are still diminished by this disease. And you can cure that by donating your hearts out. And if a louder plea helps, please give your asses off. In doing so, you help us all work towards a final goal of a world without epilepsy. Now, my wife Amy and I are honored to work with our dear friends Susan and David Axelrod and the entire CURE staff. In our eyes, they are heroes, one and all. I'm going to sing a song tonight about heroes, dedicated to the Laszlo family and the entire CURE team. And researchers working to save lives and cure epilepsy, God bless you all. Now, for everyone watching and contributing, you are heroes as well, and we are grateful for your gifts. I'm asking three dear friends, Lauren Axelrod, Charlie Carpenter, and Denise Witt from the fabulous Heart Singers, to sing with me tonight using the wonders of technology. So bless you all, and thank you again for giving. Now here's Tried and True. When you have faith, there are no questions. And without it, all the answers disappear. We sure could have never no greater brothers and sisters lead us here. Yeah, the home fires, they still keep burning bright. We'll keep walking, walking in your light. Keep the faith, that's what we do. Tried, tested, and true. Tried and true. Fires, hey, keep burning bright. We'll keep walking, walking and singing in your light. Keep the faith, that's what we do. Tried, tested, and true. Tried and true. Tried, tried and true. Tried and true. Tried and true. Tried and
Well, as Nils just said so perfectly, this is a heavy, beautiful, and hopeful night. We want to thank you for joining us this evening, and please continue to give. And for all of us who are impacted by an epilepsy diagnosis, one fact enters our minds and burrows right in. It heavies our hearts, it resurfaces during the quiet moments, and keeps us up at night. The fact is, epilepsy can be fatal. Tonight, our urgency is driven by the unimaginable.
I have only one heart, and that is the part that makes either tears from a smile or ripped out by pain. And no, the sting, it feels the same, like the trails left on my face. And there's no way to know which way the wind blows today. I am only as strong as I seem, but that's enough for me to stay on my feet and say, I'll be here with my sword and my cape. I'll fight all these fears, and before it's too late, I'll make them disappear. And if the sky is too dark, we'll light up a spark and blow away the haze, so you can clearly see my face and know right here is where I will remain till the calm comes. Oh, 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 oh. I am calling your name and trying to follow your gaze, find the hint of a smile to know you're okay. It's so hard to hide my hate. But I'm trying, baby, wait. I am only as strong as I seem, but that's enough for me to stay on my feet and say, I'll be here with my sword and my cape. I'll fight all these fears, and before it's too late, I'll make them disappear. I'll take your hand so you know I'm not letting go. I need you to know that you're stronger than me. My head's underneath all these stormy seas. My thoughts turn to you and I'll stand and la 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 la. Sky is too dark, we'll light up a spark and blow away the haze, so you can clearly see my face, and know right here is where I will remain till the calm comes. I hope that you can see right here is where I'll be.
Sunshine and shoes, loves balloons and cartoons, a dreamer, a comedian, a poet, a singer, human beings, our friends, our children. This is my daughter, our daughter, Julia Barnicle. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing great.
You know, she is doing great too. Let me tell you a little bit about Julie B. When she was a little girl, a very little girl, 2 to 3 years of age, we realized, my wife Ann actually first realized, that she was suffering from seizures. And the derivative of seizures is epilepsy, of course. And as I told you earlier, my wife took charge and we took Julia all over the country, seeking the same thing that we're seeking tonight, a cure for epilepsy. Someday we'll get there. But in the interim, early on, we were told that Julia Barnicle would really probably never be able to read, would be barely a functioning adult. Well, can I tell him?
You gotta.
Last year, Julia graduated from college, from Regis College here in Massachusetts. It was a long, hard, tough climb for her. We have 7 children. She is by far the toughest of the 7 children. And she has maybe the best sense of humor. Her brothers are pretty funny too. But she's here with us tonight, and I'm so proud of her. My wife is proud of her, and we're all proud of the strength that she has shown every day of her life. And speaking of hope, last year we met Cindy and Elvin Angelo. They shared their daughter Vera's journey with Sturge-Weber syndrome, and they sent along a little update.
Hi, I'm Cindy Angelo.
And I'm Elvin Angelo. It's been a year since we last saw you. Vera has grown incredibly well. She's developing really, really well. She is potty trained. She is speaking a lot more. Speech is incredibly improved. As you can see, she's saying a lot of words. And physically, she's doing a lot more now.
did it.
She was a year seizure-free until June. Unfortunately, she got a fever, and that ended up triggering the seizures. So unfortunately, we had a little bit of a setback there. But other than that, she's been doing great.
And she has a little brother.
And of course, as you can see, our family has grown.
She's an amazing big sister. Most of the time, they get along. And it's really great to see her being able to play with someone, though, throughout the days. We hope you're enjoying the program, and we hope that you continue to donate and support the cause, because the school system that we're in and all of the therapies that Vera's getting is all thanks to the research and the important work that people are doing to advocate for our children who have medical needs. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts. It means the world to us.
Yeah, go!
Let's go. Whee!
Okay, how many of you out there recognize Miss Vera from the opening number with Miguel Cervantes? Remember when everyone was in the park singing? Well, she was the one who stole the show, if you ask me. A little cutie, and a new baby brother to boss around as well. CURE Epilepsy CEO Beth Lewin-Dean has been back here now enjoying the show. And Beth, I hear you have an announcement.
I do. I am super excited to announce that in honor of Cindy and Elvin and Vera, they are making a donation of $20,000 to CURE Epilepsy.
Oof.
It's wonderful. Cindy and Elvin have told us that they have been a phenomenal employer. They understand the special needs that Vera takes and have been very flexible in allowing them to care for her. So we are grateful for Salesforce's support.
How's the rest of the night going fundraising?
We're getting there. It's a climb.
Yeah.
We're working it. So keep pushing those buttons.
Well, Beth, you're like all good fundraisers. You have a thermometer to see how the donations are coming along tonight. And what about the thermometer? What is the thermometer?
The thermometer measures how much we've raised so far towards our $1.8 million goal.
Have you got it on you? Or do you carry
No,
a bag with it?
no,
Oh, you're not
no.
like a doctor with a thermometer?
No.
Okay. We'll get to the thermometer later, maybe. But first, thank you to Beth Schoolies, who gave $26 for the 1 in 26, and thank you to Michael Cotton, who gave $10,000 in memory of Vivian Cotton. And Beth, I hear we have another generous supporter with some exciting news.
We do. So I'm also really, really excited to announce that Diane Rasso, through the Ann G. and James B. Ritchie Foundation, has issued a matching grant of $100,000. So tonight, if you make a donation, $26, $100, $1,000, Diane will match it up to $100,000. So please continue to give generously. All of this goes towards research, and we're incredibly grateful.
Boy, that's fantastic.
It is.
That is fantastic. So out there, listen up now. Try one of those other options. Text, call, go to the website, or just click that donate button again on your screen. Beth, raise a toast and share a moment of, maybe make believe you can,
Yes.
do it.
We'll
Okay.
pretend.
Let's clink hands.
Let's.
All right.
So I guess on behalf of Susan Axelrod and the board of directors, my wonderful colleagues at CURE Epilepsy, and all of our researchers, you guys at home who have a glass, please raise it, and let's toast to an attitude of gratitude for all that you, the community, do in helping us fund research to find a cure.
Great. That's great. Ladies and gentlemen, how about some more Nils Lofgren? Here he is performing Wonderland.
Where the boys and girls like to dance on the way to school. Even the pretty girls think to be nice is cool. Ain't no locks upon the door. Ain't no country fighting no war. Ain't no boss or president here. And no judge to keep score. No one ever has to raise a hand and wonder. In a wonderland, and compassion is something people understand and wonder. In a wonderland. and you don't get singled out every time you're wrong or right. Ain't no hungry people to feed, ain't no homeless children in need, ain't no prejudice in anyone's heart, and no crime in the street. No one ever has to raise a hand in a wonder, in a wonderland, and compassion is something people understand. In a wonder, in a wonderland, in a wonder, in a wonderland. Where there ain't no fairy tale Hollywood, people messing with your head. Never gotta hurt anybody or yourself to get ahead. No one ever has to raise their hand in a wonder, in a wonderland, and compassion is something people understand. In a wonder, in a wonderland, in a wonder, in a wonderland, little girl, in a wonderland. In a wonderland. It's a beautiful place to live your life. It's a beautiful place to call your home. Ain't no government telling you who to fight. Yes, in a wonderland.
You got a thermometer update?
We do. In the last 10 minutes, we are up $40,000. So we are at $1,431,995, which is phenomenal. So please keep it coming.
Thanks, Beth. That was a good report. We appreciate that. And thank you out there very much. We truly appreciate it. Good night. We'll see you next year. We'll do it all over again. And once again, here's Nils Lofgren.
Check the news, make sure the world's still here. Frosted flakes in my bowl of beer. I scrape my rock hard and loud as I want. When you're under the iron heel, don't push the red button deal. It's a haul from your head to your heart. It's a dangerous promise I've made for us, but crystal clear. There's no rainbows left, not unless I give my deaf, dumb heart to hear. Hell came by for a meal. I said no, made a deal, just a chat, not one bite. Now get out, get out. It's a dangerous promise I've made for us, but crystal clear. There's no rain longest trip is from your head